With our curtain material taken care of, courtesy of the Bitmap to Material 3 node, time to switch over to the Substance Designer application and export a material for the floor on which our chair is standing. Now, in this instance, we're going to be working with an existing Substance Designer graph rather than creating one ourselves that was created and has been kindly provided for use here by fellow author Joel Bradley, although you could just as easily follow along with the general process using any Substance file that you like. The material is a patterned wood floor that has had a number of artist-friendly features built into it, features that have already been exposed for the end user to make use of. Now, if you want to know how to go about exposing parameters in a Substance graph, then you can check out the Exposing Substance Parameters video in the Substance Designer Essential Training course that can be found here in the online library. A question that you may already be thinking about at this point in the process, though, is which material type we're going to use in 3ds Max and V-Ray. Well, whilst figuring out the pipeline that we want to use early in the export process may have been pretty important once upon a time, the current truth, as we have already stated, is that when rendering substances in V-Ray and Max, we have multiple approaches open to us, none of which require that we lock ourselves into using just a single material type or approach at this point. With that in mind then, we can simply go ahead with the export process and then make the decision regarding which material type to use once we are inside 3ds Max. Before we do any kind of exporting though, something else that may be concerning us at this point is the fact that the resolution of our substance is currently set quite low, especially so considering that we are wanting to use this material in a high-res offline render. If I just zoom into the outputs frame in the graph, you can see that we're going to be outputting at a resolution of 256, whereas ideally we will want to be using 2K textures or 2048 textures at a minimum, with 4 or even 8K possibly being required. One way to fix that would be to come over to the output size controls in the base parameters rollout for the graph and set a value in both fields of 3. Which, once the substance recompiles, now has us outputting at a resolution of 2K. If you recall though, we have already seen that the Substance plugin in Max not only has the ability to set a default import resolution, but can also make a change to the render resolution at any time. Probably the best approach to setting a resolution then would be to leave things as they are here in Substance Designer and then handle any up or down resing that we may want to make inside Max itself. After setting those values back to 0 then, we can go ahead and export our Substance file for use in Max and V-Ray. To do that, let's right-click on the flooring.sbs package in the Explorer panel, and then from the menu that shows up, choose the Publish.sbsar file option. After making certain that we are saving to our exercise files, substance files, and designer folders, we can call this flooring.sbsar, click Save, and then in the Publish Options dialog, simply hit OK. Which means that we are ready in our next exercise to open this material up in 3ds Max and see just how easy it is to render this out using V-Ray.